afternoon, everyone. How you guys doing? All right, I'm gonna warn you, I'm also a deacon, so I'm gonna treat you like you're my church. So I know that you can do better than that. How y'all doing tonight? For me, it's night. I've been up since 4 a.m. So, welcome to the Being BIPOC Creators in Manga panel. My name is Renee Scott. I am a young adult librarian for the New York Public Library. I am also a blogger and reviewer for Good Comics for Kids, which is a blog associated with School Library Journal. And I had a wonderful milestone. And first last night, I was the first Black female judge for the first ever American Manga Awards last night. And also real quick, the fact that this happened at the same time, we have the first Black South Asian woman nominated as President of the United States. We gotta quote it, "We're not going back."
That's right.
So, it would be an understatement to declare that anime and manga has had an incredible impact on the BIPOC community, so let's give yourselves a shout out because you're the reason why we're here. With famous names such as Pharrell Williams, Michael B. Jordan, and of course the queen herself, Megan Thee Stallion, it has been obvious that how much the BIPOC community loves anime and manga. But before those names played a part in making manga become mainstream, the man right next to me, Frederick L. Jones, had a vision that led to the creation of Saturday AM in 2013. Give it up, give it up. Saturday AM was created to market and develop manga from creators throughout the world to provide stories and characters that properly represent our community. Saturday AM has produced manga from artists not only based in the States, but also from Africa and Europe. We have 4 of those creators today, which includes Saturday AM's founder, Mr. Jones. To discuss their works, motivations, and challenges of bringing BIPOC manga to you all. Without further ado, Mr. Frederick L. Jones.
Hey guys, thank you guys so much. So this is going to be Renee's show, and we're honored that Renee agreed to moderate this panel. We actually have 2 panels this weekend. We hope you'll attend both. But this panel, which is so important to so many of us in this room, because this is all about what it's like to be a person of color that supports this industry. And as the great phrase was said a long time ago, which is sometimes it's hard to love something that doesn't always love you back. Mm-hmm. And so it was really important for me to have this panel for a couple of reasons. Number one, for the fact that, as Renee just said, these are not folks, what you see here are not people who like to do manga. We make manga. Our books are in stores. We're sold around the world. We're winning awards. We are interacting with people who are recognizing our content from Japan. So there's a big difference between being a fan of this material, who happens to dabble in it, and being someone who's actually doing this. And I think it's very important for us to talk about our experiences, because those are experiences that we hope, as you all and as the industry continues to develop, you will experience as well. And hopefully there'll be enough of a path blazed that you will have less of the issues that we've had to face along our way. I'm gonna take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, because we want to make sure we have time for everyone to speak and also get to the point where Renee can ask you guys questions. But I do want to give you guys, for those of you who do not know this company, to tell you a little bit about what we have, what we are, and what our whole issue is. First of all, this is the panel, moderated by the lovely Renee Scott. And of course, we have a number of folks here who are real icons in the space. You've got White Manga next to me, who you guys will get to hear from in a moment. You guys probably know this man. Almost 1 million followers on social media, one of the largest YouTube channels, the biggest African mangaka in the world, and the creator of a big series called Apple Black. Morgan Walker, who is from the United States, who's doing a really cool series that people love called Soul Beat, which features a Black protagonist, which is rare to see in manga, especially one that really celebrates kind of the blaxploitation genre of black identity. And then at the end of the panel, we have J.R. DeBard, who is a biracial New Yorker, a martial art, a black belt in martial arts, Taekwondo, who's doing a series that is at home in the seinen genre called Underground, that does the things that manga do really well, which is not just capture brutal, beautiful-looking fights, but also teaches you about the sport along the way. Our mission is simple. It's to normalize diversity in manga and anime, period. That's it. We're not here to change manga. We just want to normalize us being part of the manga category. Here's something you might not know. This is not lip service. I'm from the video game industry. I have a long career as part of the video game industry. I've seen all these things happen in the game industry. So I can tell you this is straight up. Vox Media did a white paper survey a while back. Black people represent 13% of the US population. We make up 17% of the anime fandom. And here's the kicker. The younger you go, the higher that number goes. So to say that black people do not represent a full quarter of the manga industry, and yet we do not represent a full quarter of the executives, the voice actors, the characters you see in manga, that's why Saturday-am exists. Cosplay voice acting, of course, is becoming bigger and bigger, and as Renee will talk about, as you all know, sometimes even just being black or brown in that space is rife with nasty comments, being challenged as to why you would be a part of this fandom, as if the people sometimes who are challenging you, who I might add are not Japanese themselves, have the right to question your fandom. Saturday-am has been around. We've got products. You're going to see more of these products tomorrow on our panel. But our brand consists of different aspects. We celebrate diversity across the spectrum, whether it's shoujo, shonen, seinen. We've been around for quite a while. Our Clock Striker series has been featured in the Kyoto International Manga Museum. We've won multiple awards for Clock Striker, which is shonen manga's first black female lead character. Never happened before. It doesn't count because you had a character who might look black. It doesn't count that a character was black and a sidekick. The first black female lead character to star in a manga. It's her story. That's big. Thank you. Thank you. I'm about to say that should get a clap. Saturday-am is one of the few companies with partnerships across the spectrum. Again, this is why it's very serious to me that we have a panel where we talk about being BIPOC. We're the only group who's interacting directly with and have professional relationships with Wacom, with Clip Studio Paint, with SanDisk, an $18 billion technology company that all of you probably have dealt with at some point in your life, chose our property to help anchor one of their brand new products. This man right here has appeared in ads for shirts. We've got apparel from one of the biggest apparel companies in the space. They do all the major brands, and they did a photo shoot with White Manga, detailing not just that we are creators of great content, we're leaders, we are entrepreneurs, we deserve to be featured and treated as judges, as icons in this space. We're not visitors. We are fully fledged members of this industry. Thank you. And to that end, I'll finish with this real quickly. We just had our 10th anniversary. We're wrapping things up. That's why our panel tomorrow is going to be so fun. We're unveiling a lot of stuff coming for the future. And while we'll get to some of these things while Renee is talking and interviewing people, I will say that aside from all the great new books we have coming up, we have something happening right now. So if you guys finish this panel, we got some gifts for you, by the way. You got to ask some questions, some cool questions. But we do have some gifts. But if you want to continue to support Saturday-am, if you want to take what we've heard today and say, you know what, I want to see more what these guys are about, every year we do an event where we celebrate and find new creators. Because again, you can't care about diversity if you're not actually trying to add to the diversity. Throughout the past 8 years, we've discovered creators out of New Zealand, out of Africa. We're talking Senegal, Ghana. We're talking South Africa. We're talking Cote d'Ivoire. We're talking Congo. But we also discovered creators out of Brazil, out of Argentina, out of Eastern Europe and Western Europe. And so this year's version is one of our best ever. We're giving away a $1,000 prize to the best short story. And it's simple. If you want to support some of those creators, simply go to our app, download the issue 166, which is the cover, and read the stories, and then hit the link and give your thoughts about it. That's it. That's all you got to do. And who knows, you might help us usher in the next great, iconic creator in the manga space who might be black, they might be brown, they might be queer, they might be trans, they might be from another country. But the bottom line is that they deserve to be the hero in this journey of creating manga and making it more diverse and more open for all of us. They deserve that shot. We can help give them that shot, and that's where you guys come in and helping us, checking out the issue at the end of this panel. Anytime you get this weekend, and just fill out the survey. We greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'm turning it back over to Renee.
All right. So before we get to your questions, I got questions for our esteemed guests. So, and this is for all of you. So, not only introduce yourselves and your work, give us a simple forward explanation that explains your series.
Why don't you go first?
Again, Odunze Agugwo, aka Wet Manga, and I'm the writer and illustrator for Apple Black. That'll be the 5th volume coming out in November. And the series, you could say, is similar to, I would say, maybe like a Harry Potter meets a Bleach type thing, where in this world, the creators, not the creators, the sorcerers, have wands, and the wands could be literally anything. So if you can see a sorcerer with a wand, that's a cigarette, and he battles with smoke, or a guitar battles with music. And anybody who's familiar with the shonen type series, which is what this is, you can already imagine all the endless possibilities that it comes with. But it follows Sano, the lead of the series, and he's prophesied to be this savior of the world. However, he has visions that point to him being quite the opposite, probably the end of the world. And so the series kind of dives into that and explores it in really new and interesting ways. And I also try to explore a lot of culture and ideas, especially from where I'm from. Originally, I'm Nigerian, so there's some of that in there as well.
Can you talk quickly, just tell them about the book you have coming out.
So, like I said, Volume 5, that'll be out in November. But then there's also a light novel that was also written with Stephanie Williams. She's really great. She's worked with Marvel, DC, part of like Milestone. And we worked together to put this for you, and it's somewhat of a prequel that, is just before the events of the manga, and it follows the lead Opal, Opal's sister. Opal's a character in the events in the manga, but as Opal's sister Willow, and a very key figure, Gideon, behind her, who's also very mysterious in the manga. So I think a lot of people who have followed the manga to date would be very interested to know what their journey is like in that. And it's a great read. It's our first light novel, so it's a great opportunity to explore that realm where it's just words and a couple cool images inside.
Morgan Walker. I'm from Indianapolis in Indiana in the United States. I've been with Saturday AM since 2017, and Soulby got its first volume in October of last year. Best way to describe it is Indiana Jones meets Shaft. It's a supernatural action manga of a professional boxer who gets into a feud with the devil and obviously has to discover the secrets of the afterlife and do this globe-trotting adventure to figure out how to defeat this eternal figure in supernatural mythos.
I'm J.R. DeBard. I started with Saturday AM in 2018.
Actually met us.
I met Saturday AM at Anime NYC
Right.
several years ago.
Very first version of Anime NYC.
Yeah, for portfolio reviews.
You can get discovered here. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm the creator of Underground. The story follows Kareem Yoon. He's a biracial martial artist and Olympian who gets injured by an underground fighter. And before he got his big shot, so he starts fighting underground to get revenge. As he does so, he draws the people close to him into this kind of unsanctioned martial arts New York circle.
Funny story with when we met him, one of the other co-founders, Raymond, when we were looking through his portfolio review, and we're the professionals, so he's the new artist, new come up guy, and so Raymond opens his artwork and it's like, okay, cool, this is nice. You can improve here. When he left, I was like, that dude dang near draw better than me.
Wiping that brow, I was like, oh. Yeah.
I didn't find out about any of that till like a couple years ago.
I found out
either.
about it recently. Yeah.
All right. So you talked about this a little bit, but I want to hear from the rest of the panel. What inspired you all to be part of Saturday AM?
Okay, I guess that makes the most sense, right? So before I met Saturday AM, I was probably one of those creators who didn't know that they could even make manga. And I remember seeing White's YouTube channel. I saw some other manga channels as well, like Mark Crilly. And the name Saturday AM popped into mind when I was going to Anime NYC. And I saw that they were doing portfolio reviews, and I was like, let me shoot my shot. And my initial pitch was more of a shonen title. And I think it was probably a bit too generic for the brand. But through that experience, I was inspired to sort of create content that would reflect more on my own experience growing up. That's kind of how I ended up with a martial arts style, because I do a lot of martial arts myself. As Fred said, I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. I've done Muay Thai, boxing, Jiu-Jitsu. So the idea of creating a title is something akin to, Hajime no Ippo or Baki the Grappler, those martial arts sports titles that I love, but taking my own cultural spin on it was very appealing to me. So when they came to me and were like, hey, you want to join Saturday PM for issue 4? I was like, oh, heck yes, and let me shoot my shot again.
For me, the first time I found Saturday AM was actually, like most people, through White, but it wasn't through YouTube, it was through DeviantArt. I found your page there, saw your artwork, I was like, man, who is this guy? He's really talented. And then obviously discovered the company as a whole, the mission that they were doing. And once I finished school and started working on my comics kind of in a part-time, hobby sort of manner, we started communicating because I was following you guys on social media. And then it eventually turned into a conversation of, okay, let's get Soulbeat serialized possibly in the magazine. And I think just through those conversations, hearing Fred talk about the mission of Saturday AM, obviously the accessibility, for those who want to make manga, it's very hard to figure out, how do you go to Japan? How do you go to these other companies where there's a language and cultural barrier? And I think Saturday AM provides an opportunity not just to get published outside of Japan, but it's also to get the kind of expertise and knowledge that you need to get published without having to go through all these hoops, and then also feel comfortable in that space and feel like you're with like-minded people who want to have the same thing. I've always felt very comfortable with Saturday AM, and not just empowered, but also to hear Frederick talk about our series and to hear him talk about the potential that they have. I think that has helped me as a creator, and so I've always been really excited to be part of this company for that reason.
With me, I've always known I wanted to do something within the realms of storytelling, actually not caring too much necessarily whether it would be animation or sequential arts, but I just knew I wanted to be in this space, and so I always did something that pushed me towards that direction. So I looked into social media and took advantage of the digital age, whether it be entering contests, creating my own YouTube channel, putting my own work out there, and actually learning from the internet because I'm pretty much 90% self-taught through the internet. And stuff I learned, I try to give back to the art community through the tutorials on YouTube or whatever on DeviantArt, just in social media in general. And so I was putting work out there. I was putting a lot of
In the books, too.
Yeah, and so I was doing a lot of just creating and putting comics out there, and that's how Fred and I connected through Raymond, one of the other co-founder, because I always liked the idea of something akin to a Shonen Jump, but here in the West. And so when the idea for Saturday AM was, got to my attention, I just knew that I think it would be a cool thing to do that's never been done, and to be a part of that I thought would be special. And then after joining Saturday AM, I think it also helped me to expand my understanding of what it means to make manga or comics or anything that's truly authentic. And I think over time, that's reflected in my work. And I think it's made me a better creator, not just for comics, but in every realm.
The one thing I would say, obviously, all these guys, I met them and knew that they were super talented. But I think one of the things that is missing when you hear them talk is that, so you got to understand, we've been around for 10 years. So what the subtext that I think might be missing, what they're telling you, and I want to make sure you guys understand, is that there was no Viz Originals when we got started. Okay? A lot of the stuff you see today came after Saturday AM. There was no idea of like, well, black folk can make manga and it can be in stores. If you wanted to make manga in 2013, you either moved to Japan, you spoke Japanese, and you understood Japanese culture. Otherwise than that wasn't happening. And so, I think that with Saturday AM, what we tried to do from the very beginning was to normalize that general idea that I moved something. What's happening? Oh, there we go. Yeah. All right. Was trying to normalize it and to really make it clear that, this was an opportunity, that this was something that deserved to be a reality, that there should be a Shonen Jump that existed outside of Japan. There should be a Shonen Jump where anyone, regardless of your country, could belong to. When we started Saturday AM, some of the gatekeepers and the naysayers would always try to tell me, as they tried to, kind of downplay what Saturday AM was, they say, well, France is Mon Fra. And I'm like, well, we have French creators. Well, what do you call it from Africa? Is it Mon Block? And I'm like, well, I don't know anyone from Africa who calls it Man Black, and I don't know why they would in the first place. The point being is that at the end of the day, manga's manga. And as you all know, when you tell people you're making a manga, you don't sit there and try to then categorize it and say, I'm making manga for the Southeastern Black Guyanese. You don't do that. You make manga. That's the community. That's the culture. And so what we wanted to do is normalize it so that, again, people like this who had mega talent didn't have to then somehow transform who they were, where they lived, what they did, how they spoke, just to be able to publish and get their work out there. We wanted to normalize it as being a thing that was authentic no matter who you were, no matter where you were from, no matter what you looked like. As long as you captured the art style, you captured the authenticity, you can make manga.
I'm going to actually scratch one question and follow up with that, which is, how do you feel manga has evolved in regards to representation, especially within the BIPOC community? Let's talk more about that.
I think it's just overall, it's not like it was non-existent forever, but I think as the years have gone by, it's something that's continued to expand, not just in manga, but you can see it in everything, in all kinds of media, and it expands within the customers, the creators, voice actor, everything. Maybe it might not be at the pace that anyone might like, but that part's subjective. But it's continued to expand, and I think it's done so in a progressive trajectory. And I think I and probably everybody here is happy to have contributed to that, where everybody's more and more comfortable, especially on the creator side, creating work that is more representative to where they're from, which is what the Japanese do, right? When they make manga, most of it you see is very Japanese inspired. The creators are from Japan, the characters are from Japan, the worlds are from Japan, or even for the series that aren't, say, specifically Japanese, you know that the creator has done some extensive research to make it really authentic to them and what they're creating. And I think as the years go by on the creator end, we see more and more of that, where people are starting to put themselves in their work, and readers are starting to see more of themselves in their heroes. Yeah. And that's a key element of what Saturday AM is about, and we want to push forward. So we're authentic in the same way that Japanese manga is authentic. Mm-hmm. And so that has just expanded over the years from a creator standpoint, customer, everything, and we hope to still expand it.
Sorry, could you just repeat the question real quickly?
It is, how do you feel manga has evolved in regards to representation, especially within the BIPOC community, or even the LGBTQ community as well? Like, what do you feel?
Right, yeah, no, I think like what he was saying is that, when you get more creators outside of the Japanese, out of the country of Japan or out of that culture that are making manga, that helps to evolve it, and you're getting more diverse storytelling and examples that otherwise, if it was coming from just one place, you just would get the same kind of diaspora of content. And then, of course, I think because of the fandoms as well, they're seeing that as well, and you're starting to get push from editors to these big creators like Masashi Kishimoto and others, being told like, hey, you need to either provide better representation, or they start to see it in the impact or in the kind of reactions from fans. And I think that helps to kind of, it's kind of like a reality check for them in some way.
I don't know how much I can add on to what everyone is saying. I mean, I can give my own kind of like personal perspective because, like I said before, before I found Saturday AM, I didn't even think I could make manga at all. And I myself am a biracial creator, so I'm half black. So since then, I've been seeing, again, personal perspective, but I feel like I've been seeing a lot more creators of color who have expressed interest in doing what I do now, but also trying to figure out how they can make their own like content and how they can get it out there. I have a mentor who he works in children's books specifically, and before I started, he didn't know whether or not manga would be easy for me to do. And since then, he's read my book, he's seen Saturday AM stuff, and he, and I don't want to delve too much into it because I don't know if it's even happened yet, but he has expressed interest in trying to do something more inspired by Japan himself. So I feel like, what we do is seen a lot, and definitely,
Yes, it is.
has, helped roll out other BIPOC creators and influence them to try to make their own content as well.
Yeah, one thing I'll just add to that, just kind of add some additional nuance and context, is that I think, so first of all, in the question of what's changed, well, everything has changed, right? I mean, I just read the numbers to you at the start of this. You're talking about, 13% of that population, African American. We represent 17% of the anime fandom, and that number grows up the younger you go. So every future generation becomes a bigger and bigger part of the industry. In fact, just a quick story, just to kind of put it in context, a very quick story. I was at Anime Expo, okay, a couple of weeks ago. And for those of you who don't know, Anime Expo, obviously it's like this show, but in the West. And the thing about it, though, is that there are two shows that go on. This is true of most conventions, okay? There are two shows that go on. So whenever you go to a comic convention, a big one, understand there are two conventions. There's the one that you may go to, which is the main convention center like Javits. And then there's the one where all the executives go to. And that's usually like a hotel across the street or something like that. So that's usually where I'm at. And I'm at this thing, and one of our artists I wanted to meet him, because a lot of our artists, again, we won't meet them initially, right? They're global, it's virtual. He's a black Bahamian artist named Stan. So Stan came to LA with his girlfriend, a lovely lady, and he wanted her to see, because he's been doing this for a while with us, so he wanted her to kind of see this and experience it. So Stan and she come, and because they had tickets for Saturday, and I was leaving because I already been there for a couple of days, I said, well, let's meet. Let's meet at the hotel where all the executives are. So we go meet, we're sitting down, and at one point, Stan, his girlfriend, and I, and then one of my staff members, a lady named Jackie Rindy, who's Latina, all of us are sitting at this table, and Stan just keeps looking at me, and I'm thinking, like I got a zit on my face, or did I do something, like is there something wrong with me? And so then at one point, I kind of looked at him like, what's wrong, dude? Like, what are you staring at? He goes, I just realized what you are in this industry. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm looking around, and we're the only black people in this entire hotel area. Everyone else is white or Asian, and you are the head of a company that is doing things with all these folks. They're meeting with you, and I just realized that's who you are. I didn't realize that before. I didn't realize just what your place is in this industry. I didn't realize what you are not necessarily up against, but what you represent for everybody in this one space. And I told them something that I will tell you all. I said, Stan, I really appreciate that. You know, again, I've known this for years. It's nothing new to me. I said, but Stan, I want you to think about this part. When you go to the show tomorrow, I want you to remember what you saw, and I want you to realize what you see then. Because what you're going to see tomorrow when you go into the show is nothing but black folk. The fan base is going to be nothing but people of color. Think about that. Not running the companies, not making the decisions, not powering the evolution of the industry itself, but buying the product, cosplaying as the characters, driving the sales of the convention. That's the role that so many of us play. And that's the point of Saturday AM. And so when we talk about the industry changing, the industry has changed because that is part of the change. Saturday AM is here. We have a lot of prominent people with us. We have a lot of prominent executives with us. But the flip side to that, though, the other part of that, though, is that we still have other issues. Just the other day, there was a whole issue regarding the new One Piece anime. Y'all know what I'm about to say about this new One Piece anime? Do y'all know? Mm-hmm. Right? Y'all saw it? What happened? Yo, man, what, do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Who knows about the One Piece anime? You can speak real quickly because we got time to go here. Go ahead, young man. Get on that mic and tell us what happened on the One Piece anime that everyone was talking about. What was it?
Wit Studios is doing a remake of One Piece, starting from the beginning, and they lightened up the skin of I'm forgetting his name, Usopp.
Usopp, a character that none of us ever really knew was black. It was just something that Oda had mentioned in passing. Right. And again, I'm not here to police Oda. Oda's a master. But the point here is that the key thing about that thing that happened was that when that came up, one of the things that came out was that Oda said, he told Wit, he said, hey, this remake, I want you to do in your heart what you think is right. I want you to, don't follow my story too closely. And it's like, well, then wait a minute. You followed it and then decided to make this character that is now canonically black because the actor is now playing him black in the live action. And you said, well, we're going to make this character even more light-skinned. We're going to make him even more nondescript black. And that's the part, we talk about the industry having changed, that's the part that still is not 100% there, that having dark-skinned, phenotype black people as being the love interests, as being the heroes, as being the cool Sasuke-style character. We still haven't quite hit that level yet. So as much as there are things that have evolved, they will continue to evolve, and not just because of Saturday AM, because the companies themselves recognize this, it doesn't change the fact that there are still a lot of work to do for representation to feel honest and feel authentic, as White said, to feel authentic, not just there, right? So there have been some changes. I just wanted to get that out there, but go ahead, Renee. I didn't mean to take over your panel, Renee. That was my bad.
Not my panel, this is your panel. But, I'm going to jump, because let's talk about the naysayers, the critics, the gatekeepers, who claim that your works are not manga. I have words for them, but I'm a Christian on Sunday. So what are your thoughts on that?
Just real quick, I would say the good thing is that for most of them, and I will also say this, while they definitely exist, the vast majority of the feedback that we do get is positive. Like it's very easy to focus on the negative side of things, especially because they stand out so much, and then usually, because they know they're the super minority, I'm talking like maybe 4%, but you know how the internet works, they will always try to be the loudest in the room because they know that. So I do want to mention that the vast majority of what we get is positive, and I'd like to show love more than focus on the negative stuff. Mm-hmm. But while on the topic, I will say the good thing is a lot of the important people that shouldn't be naysayers aren't. That they are more welcoming, like it just showed the image of, say, a clock striker in the Kyoto Museum in Japan. Yeah. Like, people from Japan, the museums, the politicians, the other Japanese manga artists, CEOs, they are not naysayers. They are very welcoming, and they want to expand the umbrella of manga.
I'd
Manga.
like to be clear, very clear. I've not spoken to any Japanese politicians. I would like to, though.
No, I'm talking about, true, but I'm talking about even like the politicians and ambassadors, the people who have like the international manga competitions that are out there. Like those are the people who help put that together, and they want international stuff. So the point I'm making is a lot of the naysayers are naysayers for very random reasons. Some of it is racism. Some of it is just point blank racism.
Yes.
And then some of it is just ridiculous silliness and just nonsense. Like the key figures who you do want some recognition from, they're very welcoming and they want to expand the umbrella that is manga. Manga essentially is just comics, but I know we have the separate terms like manga, comics, manhwa, whatever, for language purposes, for the nuance of like, okay, I'm talking about comics from Korea or Japan or whatever. But essentially, they're all the same thing, right? It's just the differences more lie within the culture of how they're created, the approach to the production, all that kind of stuff, and without going into too much detail.
Actually, I do want to touch on that detail. I think that's a crucial distinction. Let me make one point about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fred.
That's right. So a couple things there. So one is that, look, I mean, you know, as the guy who runs the company and started the company, I mean, we do get a lot of, I get it all the time, and it's always nonsense. It's whether it's, you know, people who could care less about how we're structured, who then want to tell me how to run the company, which always gets on my nerve. I'm older than all of these guys, by far.
7,800.
Exactly. I'm 7,800 years old. So I always find that to be disrespectful to an educated black man. I think it's like, you know your place. Like, don't sit there and try to come up to me and speak to me like I'm some child. I think that's disrespectful. My parents didn't raise me to do that to somebody else. Some young people need to learn that lesson, number one. Number two is that the reality of when it comes to gatekeepers, so to speak. The term gatekeeper is very specific. It means folks who will try to prevent you from gaining what you feel like, you know, or at least the recognition you want. Now, to be clear, this is capitalism, okay? This is capitalism. I'm a progressive Democrat, but I'm a capitalist. So whenever we deal with a company that follows in our footsteps and they talk a lot of trash because they want to be better than us, they want to beat us and so forth, I always welcome it. I'm like, you know what? I'm a sports fan. I'm a capitalist. If you think you can do what we do better, bring it. Don't talk all nonsense and don't try to be dismissive towards my people or to myself. Just produce great content and let's see what the fans think, because that's ultimately who makes the decision. But let's be clear. As a professional in this space, and I've been in the entertainment space for a long time. I was in the video game industry for a very long time as an executive. Black people do not always get the same publicity that other people get, and that makes a big difference. If I've got a company and I've put a lot of time and effort into a product, and I would like to get an article on a major website or on a major newspaper, chances are there will be folks who maybe have not done the stuff that we did, maybe do not have the same levels of accomplishment that we have, who will get those articles, who will get that placement, who will get that treatment. And sometimes for us, we feel like, wait a minute, didn't we do all of this? Like, didn't we just do the same thing like 3 years ago? Like, where was our, article? Where was our push? We got a book coming out. We got books coming out. That little extra shine for Apple Black can maybe help us sell an extra 1,000 units, and that matters to a company. So, to say that the gatekeeping isn't real, the gatekeeping is real, and it's designed to do exactly what it says. It's designed to let through some folks that they might want to let through, and to deny other folks that they don't want to let through. The bottom line is that, I think to the one point that White said, I do want to just make sure about this, is that, look, running this company, I can tell you, and then being an executive, I can tell you that at the end of the day, retailers who carry our books do not care what the gatekeepers think. They might listen to some of it at times, but ultimately they don't care. If people are asking for Clock Strike or Apple Black, they're going to carry it. If a company wants to make an anime of our characters, they're not going to be concerned about what somebody with 11 followers, someone who makes videos all the time talking about how people are rainbow freaks. They're not going to care about that. They're going to care about the vast majority of young people who are fans of what we do, or who could be, because they see this in their own respective industries. That's what they recognize, and that's why our business has always succeeded. That said, though, the thing you said at the end of it, I did just want to challenge the one part, which is the notion that, I forgot what it was. You said something I was going to get on. I forgot what it was. You said one thing that I was like, that's not quite the way it is, but
It's gone now.
it's gone now. It'll come back to me. So come back to our panel tomorrow. It'll come back. I'll have it tomorrow. Go ahead, Renee. I'm sorry.
All right. All right. Okay. So, got one more question, then we're going to turn it to you, the audience. So, for everyone here, what's next for your series or manga career?
Volume 2.
Same, but different.
But no, on that note, Volume 2 for Underground is expected 2025. It's part of the 2025 lineup. And yeah, I'm really just looking to, keep researching martial arts, keep getting better at it so I can devote more to putting that into my series, making it as authentic as possible, and giving the folks stuff that they can read, learn from, inspire them to either draw or take up some kind of martial arts sport, get in the ring, I don't know.
He is also our bodyguard.
Volume 2 of Soulby, that is on the horizon. Or it's actually, we just released the last chapter, or the first chapter of Volume 2 in the last 2 issues of Saturday AM, issue 164, 165. So that's in development. I think we're aiming for 2025, but we'll see.
For it.
Yeah, but no, I'm always working
We got
on.
apparel coming. That's the key thing.
We got apparel. Yes, we got apparel.
So be the apparel.
Also working on some other really cool projects, which I think we'll talk about either in this panel or tomorrow. Some big
Got
announcements.
some announcements tomorrow, yeah.
And just so we can get to questions, I'll say the really cool stuff, obviously more content of all of our series, but a lot of big announcements, major announcements tomorrow. And hopefully you guys are there for that.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing tomorrow, we got a trading card game, which is going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it. If you got trading card games, then seeing our characters in a trading card game, and it's in a really unique way with this team that's doing it, I think you guys get to get a kick out of. We've got more apparel coming. We've got some big announcements regarding our series. Obviously, you all want to hear about, an anime adaptation for some of our stuff. We hope to announce that. We hope that maybe Clock Striker will have something like that. We certainly have had talks with various media companies about live action and animation. So these are all on the horizon. We just have to keep working to make them happen. But as these guys know, I remember telling this years ago, coming from corporate America, there's stuff that I've been working on, stuff that they know about, stuff they've been helping work on for years that we're not ready to announce yet, but we will. And so serious people take their time. You don't rush everything out. So there are things that we could tell you about that will blow your mind, probably another year or two away. But we're always pushing. We're always pushing. And our goal is to be the Shonen Jump of the globe, and to be something that next tier for people who are never going to move to Japan, never going to speak Japanese, but I know what it was. So what I was going to say about manga, was that manga, because I say this all the time about gatekeepers, the thing that always kills me when I talk to folks who try to tell me what manga is, again, I'm a 50-year-old man who's been around for a long time, and I was into manga back in the 80s, long before manga even was regularly in America. In fact, last night we met Fred Schrott, who is a legend. And I went up to him, his name is Fred, by the way, so we had a good laugh. But I went up to him and I said to him, I said, one of the reasons I started Saturday AM is because of you, because I bought your very first book, Manga, which was the very first book in English you ever described, to ever even name manga. It was the first book. And this guy is a legend. He won the Lifetime Achievement Award last night. So the thing about manga is that it doesn't matter about right to left. Sorry, it doesn't matter right to left. That's BS. That's all BS. That's always been BS. You know what makes manga manga? The same thing that makes hip-hop hip-hop. You don't make hip-hop and then throw in there and be like, well, I'm going to do a little country song. No, you're not, because that's not hip-hop. You can take certain instruments, you can take certain affects, but at the end of the day, hip-hop has a very distinct level of things that make up hip-hop. So does pasta. So does karate. There are things that require you to put in certain elements that are universally known as the key ingredients to that thing, and manga is the exact same. And so what I do challenge is sometimes the notion that, well, it's comics versus manga. If our stuff looks like manga and we play the right elements of how you lay out a page, how the characters move, how we do voice effects and how we do special effects authentically, then that's manga. That is the manga element. And by the way, if the Japanese see it and say, hey, this is a really cool looking manga, That's manga. It's like telling someone black that, like, when someone comes in and their name is Machine Gun Kelly, that's hip hop. No, it ain't. Not to me. Not to no one I know. That's how it works. Anyway, that's manga. We got questions.
All right, so actually, if you're gonna have questions, please line up at the mic in the middle right here.
Oh, sorry. 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes.
All right, we got 10 minutes, we can do this. And
Look, and I got gifts. So if you come up here, you do a question, make it fast. We're gonna answer it fast. I'm gonna give you something out of the bag. It might not be what you want, but it will be something fun.
go ahead.
Okay, following those rules, my name is Dumbledore Jr., 25 years old. First off, I just want to quickly say, can we give a round of applause for Saturday-am? Because
Hey!
everything that you have done the past 10 years, from 2014 to now, 2013 till now, is absolutely freaking incredible. I was trying to say, with my hand, I wanted to say that to those gatekeepers, naysayers, the racists out there who try to put you guys down. See yourself as kind of like Naruto Uzumaki. Those people are like the Hidden Leaf Village before they knew who he was, and find that one group or one person that's like Iruka Sensei, who believes in you and sees the true potential in you. And I'm so happy you guys reached that potential. It's absolutely freaking incredible, inspiring. My question to you is this. With you guys creating Saturday-am, all these incredible, diverse characters, even though they didn't exist before then, what were the types of works or books or anime that inspired you to want to create manga, be into anime, a type of thing? Because people were inspired by, I don't know, someone from Pokemon or Afro Samurai. Where did they begin for all of you, if you guys want to answer that?
My pool of influence and inspiration is really wide, even beyond manga, beyond Japanese comics, or some of the Western stuff influences me as well. Not just even comics, but like TV shows, movies, you name it, right? But one of the first ever that really got me to pick a pen, and I'm talking as a child, was the artwork for the Street Fighter II, Turbo, Super Nintendo. The art on the cartridge, drawing that, and just drawing anything I saw that just looked like that, so Street Fighter for me is up there. And then over time you add on Pokemon, Rurouni Kenshin, and then some Western stuff like Spider-Man, X-Men, and so on. But top up there is like Street Fighter, maybe a decade later Bleach.
Bro, 30-second answers, homie. Look, here you go, right here. This is for you, man. Thank you very much. That was a great comment. Thank you. There you go. All right, you rock, man. And those for y'all that we all want to know, he's right. I'm like the third Hokage. He's Choji. Go ahead, young lady.
He is a hater, as you guys can see.
Beef. Hi, my name's Catrice. I'm press with Off Black Magazine, which is just a magazine that centers around Black voices and anime and manga and all of that. So first thing I wanted to do was thank all of you creators for making characters that I feel like I could see myself in, because growing up, I feel like I didn't have that a lot. So to see like all these super characters that are doing all these crazy things, and they're not just in the body of somebody that doesn't look like me, I just want to thank you first and foremost.
That's nice.
So my question, basically, to kind of lead off of that is, what do you hope to give audiences through your work that you feel you didn't have when you were either growing up or you feel like you didn't have until you created that work?
Morgan, you go with that. And then, young lady, you come on up here and I'll give you an item while she's answering the question.
Well, I think one of the inspirations I had for developing Soulbeat and having a character that was black, a black male character, whereas I'm a white female creator, or character versus me being a white female creator, is that I did not see a lot of that representation in manga, and so there was an opportunity to introduce culture that I am seeing in movies and television in my community, and putting that into a manga that then I can appreciate in the same art form that I grew up with that didn't have that kind of representation.
That's awesome. She got a cool Soulbeat t-shirt. Show your Soulbeat t-shirt. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wait, how small is that? Wow. All right. Well, man. All right. Good thing I gave it to you and not someone else. Wow. All right. Come on, young lady.
Hi there. My name is Monique Young. I'm an artist. I didn't have a question. I saw the announcement that you guys were going to be here, and I've been watching you for 10 years. So I just wanted to say thank you for creating the platform, because it's interesting that when you created it, you had a fan art contest for a book called Z Forever, and I'm actually the winner for it. So I just wanted to say thank you for creating creating this for an opportunity for other people as well. So.
Well, that is
That's
awesome.
it.
Well, hey, come on up here. This is for you. This young man can sign it for you right there. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. That's very kind of you.
Oh, nice.
Yes, man.
How's it going, y'all? I want to say thank you so much. My name's Chase. Been a huge anime manga fan for forever. And this work has definitely spoke to me, especially seeing people that look like myself on these pages and on these screens. And it also dovetails with my work. Like, I work in public health. I do disability rights, and I also work with like a lot of people of color, and I see that. And so to me, intersectionality is super important. So how do you add that to your work and continue to elevate all voices?
Well, thank you so much for that. That's very kind. Sorry, well, come on up here. Look at your thing. But you had a question on that, though? Was a question?
Yeah. The question is, how do y'all plan to continue to add intersectionality to your works?
Oh, well, I mean, I can speak to that. Come on up here. Wyatt's going to sign a book for you. Listen, I mean, we do an event, as I said earlier, and we bring in new creators all the time. You can't talk about diversity if you do not make ladders of opportunity for everybody. So the whole point of our Summer Manga event and art contest stuff that we do is to shine a spotlight on creators who might come from different parts of the world, creators who might not be, parents who, by the way, might not want them to do artwork. Thank you. So that's what we try to do. We try to incentivize them with whether it's money or items like iPads, which can be very expensive. We try to provide opportunities for creators. That's the way we continue to grow. We just can't do that by just saying we want to do this. We want to bring in people who authentic experiences are those things. I mean, White and I are both cisgenders. Like, we can't talk about the trans experience, but we've got trans artists in the company who can do that. So, so thank you for that. Young lady, go ahead. Might be our last question. So the rest of you have to come up and just get a free item. But go ahead, young lady.
Hi, y'all. My name is Tanaja, and I'm a former bookseller. I used to work at the only bookstore that was in the Bronx that was also Black-owned. So I have put so many of y'all's books into the hands of middle schoolers, older folks. Love that.
Thank you.
Shout out to you.
But my question is, so I really love romance, and I love like I don't know how to say this nicely, adult romance content. So I'm wondering if we can look forward to seeing that like diversity grow in that direction in terms of the content that Saturday AM offers.
So one of the announcements that I can't talk about is that we are working on something, and we hope to have a gigantic announcement about books that will move in that direction with creators that are of a different standard of what we currently offer. But this is not the time or place to talk about it. But that certainly is an area that we look to go into. And again, as I just said, it's about finding creators who that's in their essence. Not just, the rule I have with our folks has been simple for years. I don't want content that you have in there because it titillates you. I want content in there because it expresses the right feeling for that story that's authentic. And that requires a level of maturity. And so that's coming. Now, it might not be exactly what you're thinking.
Listen, I mean, it doesn't exist for Black people right now, so I will accept anything that you have.
Yeah. Well, you come on up here and get a book.
All right. So unfortunately, that was our last question, but feel free to come up, get some freebies. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. Give it up to Saturday AM and this wonderful panel.
Hello, brother. How you doing, man?
And
nice to meet you.
enjoy the rest of the con. Thanks, everyone.